friends, countrymen, Russians, practically communists, huh? Anyway, I've been getting a lot of calls lately, text messages and stuff, people wanting to ask their sheriff. I'm humbled that people would actually think enough to be able to get my opinion. I hope they're not going because Tom Munn said so. That could be problematic. But anyway, I had a couple of questions for people that might not know what to ask. Again, they're just my opinion, you know. I think the first question that I would start with is, in your mind, Sheriff, what is the proper role of the sheriff? And, of course, I probably will only have time to give these questions. If you want the answers to them and you don't know them, or I should say, if you want my answers, then I'll have to do those in a separate deal. But understanding his role, I mean, it's great for us to understand what we believe the proper role of the sheriff to be. And it's also important that we share that. But it's important to be able to ask questions so we can better understand our candidates. And I think that's a lot of the reason that we're having problems today is we take some of the things they say, we don't necessarily challenge them to any great depth, and we find out that their terms are different than ours. Today it's more important than ever to understand that words mean things and to be able to try to get an idea of what he actually means by what he says. So I think understanding what he believes to be the proper role of the sheriff is hugely important. Whether they actually, whatever they believe, regardless of what side of the coin they are. Another thing might be to be able to ask them what's their top issue or 3 issues or top 5 issues that they're really concerned about. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you some insight on how trained they are federally. And I don't want to use the term brainwashed, but what kind of training they've been getting. If they talk about the war on drugs or they talk about anything like that, it helps you understand that they've become federalized in their thinking because of, for my understanding of the proper role of sheriff would be specifically to be able to defend the citizens in the county against federal encroachment, especially today with all of the abuses of the federal government. That is the biggest question for me. But I think it asks it in a way that is less pointing your finger in their eye and allowing them to explain rather than putting them on the spot and demeaning them and making them feel stupid, because nobody likes to feel that way. Another one might be, do you support the Strong Cities Network? Right now through the Support Your Local Police campaign and things, there's a huge push to try to bring some understanding to the Strong Cities Network. And not only are they pushing for the nationalization of police, but they're pushing for the globalization of police and abolishing local jurisdictions in favor of global control. Maybe some of the questions would be, do you believe that more jails are the answer when the United States has the highest incarceration rate in the world? And my answer to that would probably be more along the lines of, maybe we could get back to the spirit of the law, not so much the letter of the law, and help people understand that if we had fewer laws, that we might have fewer incarcerations. Because I think government's idea today is that really, laws can actually prevent crime, and nothing further from the truth as we become a more lawless society with the more laws that are created. Another one might be, do you adhere to the letter of the law or the spirit of the law? And can you define the spirit of the law and the letter of the law in the best terms that you can to help them understand how they work together? Another one is, what's the supreme law of the land? Is it the Supreme Court, federal laws, state constitution, and federal constitution? Another one is, what kind of position does it put you in as a sheriff when one of those actually contradicts one or more of the other parts of that oath that you took? Another one might be, do you believe that enforcing policy is law? administrative policy, that is, maybe a policy created by the school district or the Public Utilities Commission or some of those things, kind of helps understand their understanding of law. Do you believe that the government entities should have limitations on what they can do? If so, what might those limitations be, and how will you actually promote those? And if an agency wants to expand its limits, is there a lawful way to expand them while adhering to your oath? Do you believe in jurisdiction, and what does jurisdiction look like to you? What do you see as the proper jurisdiction for the sheriff as it relates to the city police and the feds? Would you implement policy mandating that federal agencies ask permission prior to entering your county? If DHS or HHS or IRS or any federal agency came to my home and arrested me, would you get involved? And if so, to what point? Maybe how do you perceive constitutionalists? This is a huge question. Obviously, I don't have to ask you that. Do you think the sheriff should be trained by the Idaho State Police? Might be another one. I mean, we've got a cross-jurisdictional element here where I believe in the Idaho legislature, they've actually made it a rule or a law or a policy or something along the lines that you actually can't run for sheriff unless you've actually gone through proper post-academy training, which is a completely different entity, a completely different jurisdiction, if you will, considering the Idaho State Police is under the governor, and the county is an elected position. The other one might be, do you think that it's constitutional for feds to train county sheriffs, especially when they get their intel from the Southern Poverty Law Center that has been known to have ties to the Communist Party USA through the American Lawyers Guild? So I know that the list is kind of short. I wanted to give you guys kind of an idea on where I am. If you happen to be a sheriff or you happen to be law enforcement, I wanted to be able to share these questions with you as well to know what to expect, at least from me. I don't intend on utilizing these questions to beat anybody over the head. I think these questions really strike the nerve of some of the issues that we're dealing with right now. And I think when we live in a country where everybody's entitled to their opinion, I think that it's important to remember that the opinion ends where the rule of law begins. And that is the one standard I think that we all need to be, that we all need to adhere to. And any deviation from that standard causes societal chaos, with the idea like the issues regarding the sovereign movement. Many law enforcement they think that, you know, people that don't have driver's licenses are crazy or all of that, but very few times have I ever heard of law enforcement even asking a sovereign citizen to be able to prove their documentation and their perceived legitimacy of such a thing. So I think part of it is opening the lines of communication, helping other people understand our perspectives, and to be able to operate under the rule of law the best way that we know how, as a basic standard. Because if we don't have that rule of law as a standard, we really don't have a standard. Right now we don't have a moral standard, we don't have a ethics standard, we don't have a societal norm, we don't have anything that is a basis of a basic standardization. And therefore, if we don't have any standardization, we have the absolute recipe for chaos, because societal relativism would have it be that nobody has to adhere to anything they don't want to adhere to, and you might obviously be able to see the consequences of that. So I hope I didn't reveal too much of my ignorance there. I hope more than anything I'm accurate. I don't ever want to put things out there that aren't accurate. I actually had a conversation about a sheriff that believed that the governor and the federal agencies had the authority to be able to arrest a sheriff. In my perspective, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that is absolutely incorrect. As far as common law goes, I believe that the coroner only has the authority to be able to arrest the sheriff. If you guys have any information on that and can provide that for me, that would be great, so that I can share that wherever I go, just to be able to help people understand where I'm coming from and supply the facts to that effect. So I wish you all a good week. Love you guys. Let's fight and win, shall we? Take care of yourself. Bye.